Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Um, I think at this point where we are, unfortunately, we have to go back to square one of the 1970s to rebuild the trust, rebuild basic trust and recognition in the right of the other side. We have to go back and emphasize the humanity in the Palestinian side, the humanity in the Israeli side. We need to go back and adopt the language that Josh alluded to it earlier, that our faith identity, our faith groups, our scriptures, a call for peace, call for coexistence, call for mercy, a call for reconciliation. That's what are the teaching of the three faith in that context. We have to go back to this foundation, and we thought in many ways that we have done that in the 70s and the 80s, and hence moved to the peace agreements that faltered, or went bad. That I am sure about it, that we have to go back and uh, reinstate our sense of humanity of the other. And we have to have the capacity in our heart to feel the pain and the victimhood of the other side. When we pray, we have to pray for the victims on all sides. That's the starting point. Immediate, we have to call for for ending the siege on Gaza. We have to have a humanitarian corridor for relief, medical relief and food and water to go in before we lose 2.2 million people in front of our eyes. It's a matter of days. That is an immediate. We shouldn't condition, as been done right now by the US, European, and Israel, the relief by any political or military goals at this point. Following that, what we need to happen is exchange and release of all prisoners and all hostages in both sides. Israel have arrested 900 people in the West Bank who are all, they said, affiliated with Gaza in the past 2 weeks. There need to be agreement to stop the bombing of civilians. And I think Turkey, Qatar, Russia, China have already called for international peace table negotiation that begin to look at this conflict in a more serious way. And I think that's down the road. But for now, it's just to stop the suffering of the people in Gaza, and also for Hamas to stop sending the rockets into Israel in order to have the Israeli go back to their normal life, and Palestinian to pick up their wounds and bury their deads. There are thousands of Palestinians under the rebels of the houses, and they are not able to pull the bodies out and to bury people. There are thousands of people who are injured, over 12,000 Palestinians injured already. So medical relief and food and protection need to be put in. And it is time that the United Nations send its peacekeeping forces to the West Bank and Gaza in order to protect Palestinian civilians, because what has happened prove that there is no civilian protection for Palestinian, and that is essential. So that the short term, this is what happened. The long term, there need to be a Palestinian state beside the state of Israel, and for the Palestinian people and the Israeli people to live like any other two states around the world, who have open borders, who have the capacity to trade with each other and to visit and have open borders. That's a dream that we all have been carrying. And I was telling my daughter 3 days ago, 2 days ago, she was very upset that, I feel sorry, me and my generation, that we subject them, Israeli and Palestinian children. We should have given them a reality that is different, because our parents have lived this reality. My parents are people who lived the Nakba, the first Palestinian Nakba. And now I am in many ways feel guilty that my children are witnessing another Palestinian Nakba. The Israeli parents who are in my age should feel the same thing, that we have failed our generation. We have failed our children. We should have saved them this suffering and those images of children being bombarded or being killed, or this is very hard for people like myself who have called for peace building and for conflict resolution over 35 years and have wished that our children will not experience this. And we always call for justice and accountability. So what I'm telling my children is that I hope that justice and accountability will be put in a place in a few years from now, so they and their children will not have to suffer in the future as well.